Okay, here we go. Somebody else is in the room.
Right.
All right, so hi, this is Dr. Susan Kay, and I'm here with very sweet man who's become very dear to my heart. He's been out here to the cabin in Texas, so very, very special guy. James Humecky, did I say that right?
Yep.
Who is a traumatic informed somatic therapist. And when we talked about how should we introduce you, and it's like we tried to put it all under one umbrella. So he's going to explain it. He's going to tell us just exactly what that means and how he can be of service to you or folks that you may want to refer to him. And James is located in the Bay Area of Northern California. So I'll just let you take it from here. Tell us what a traumatic informed therapist means and the adventures you've been on traveling around with your work, and you're in a very exciting program that I'm also involved with. And so James will tell us about that too.
Yeah, well, thank you, Susan. It's really good to be here and see your lovely mug this morning. Yeah, I'm excited about the work that we're doing together, the surrogate partner therapy. For me, it's taking my work to the next level in the sense of, I know the next level sounds very marketing, in that I have worked with people around the world. I would say around the world, but I've been in Palestine working with groups there. I've been in Central and South America working with groups there. A lot of combat veterans, a lot of people that were affected by violence, natural disaster. The first time I went to Nicaragua, I went to work with an organization, and it was right after Hurricane Mitch. And so there was a lot of, now that wasn't doing healing work per se, but it really informed where I went later with my work, seeing that kind of a thing. And I have worked with a lot of people that have been sexually abused, a lot of people that have been physically abused. And so over the years, I've been doing this work now for 17 years. I came to it kind of late in life. At 40, I found massage and body work, and I was lucky to have a really great instructor who encouraged us to bring our life skills and life experiences into our work, as opposed to just doing some kind of a rote massage, and kind of making us scared of touching the human body. So a lot of programs will focus more on that sort of fear-based place, And I'm not saying you shouldn't be ethical. I'm not saying you shouldn't be aware. I'm just saying that, it was really beautiful to be in a program that encouraged exploration and expansion and bringing your life skills into our sessions. So it was the beginning of this particular part of my journey, which was into body work, which eventually grew into working with all these different groups and people who had experienced sometimes really intense long-term traumas. And watching people transform from this closed down, armored up place into, that cathartic movement, self-realization, back into confidence, back into real self, has been an incredible journey for me. And so a couple of things, it's like you said, it's kind of difficult to put the work under one umbrella. I call it somatic therapy in the sense that somatic, we're talking about the soma, we're talking about the whole body. It's not just a mental game. It's not just a physical game. It's not just about the body. It's not just personal, it's transpersonal. And so it's just this large, inclusive subject. And so I call it somatic repatterning, in that one of the basic things that I have learned is that in childhood, especially, and then, whatever is brought in through our parents, sets a particular pattern and perspective in our body minds, in our actual neurology and in the brain. It sets up how our nervous system reads and reacts to the world around us. It informs our perspective on life, and that's the good news. It's just that we often get, in that time, we get really bad messages. We learn how to survive in ways that don't help us in adulthood. As children, we have to survive one way or another, anyway, going into all the different things that can happen in childhood. We know that socially, in the family, from religions, a whole bunch of different things. So my work is around helping people to reorganize, retrain, repattern themselves into having the capacity, the maturity, the mastery, the agency as adults.
Yeah, and James, do you
Go ahead.
find too that we know now the epigenetics role, that things are passed down genetically through family lineage, right? I mean, this is relatively new. I mean, it's even relatively new that we're acknowledging the patterns, as you speak to, that they exist. And so it's exciting to me, having been in this field for 30 years, where, none of this was being looked at or discussed. I mean, not in the world that I knew. Maybe the scientists were doing it, but, we didn't have internet. Nobody was talking about it. So just hearing you speak, it just lights me up, because there's just so much possibility and potential that we have to really have a healthy you with you, which is one of my, my statements inside of the work that we do, is first you have to get you with you before you can get you with other. So that's what I hear you saying, that you're helping them, to kind of take these patterns out of themselves, look at them, rearrange them, repattern them, and put them back in.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's relatively new, like you're saying, in the sense of it being more like proven scientifically, and the information getting out to the general public. Now, if you look, and I'm just going to make this, brief aside, is that, like, in the Bible, there's a statement in there in the Old Testament, I believe, that says, the sins of our forefathers will be visited upon us for, I think it says 7 generations. It might be 3.
It is 7.
But, we've known forever that what happens over here affects me.
Yes.
And it's very easy to just go back into our, I did a very long study of family constellations. And, part of that was we had to put together a genealogy and sort of, say, like, where were all the crazy people?
Yeah.
And then just kind of make, find those, direct and indirect, those transpersonal connections to where we are now. So yes, the repatterning. So the question then always is, how do we do that? How do we get into that? And, is it, a bunch of, crystals being waved over us, or are we doing psychedelics, or, what is it that we're doing? And it can get very esoteric, but I really attempted to bring my work down into like very practical, real time kind of stuff. And also, it's one of those things where it's really beautiful that there's a whole bunch of research that is just continuously showing us what are the things we can do, what are the tools we can use, and three of the main ones is breath, movement,
Yeah.
and mindfulness or meditation. Like that self, not um belly button gazing, not that constant introspection, like, uh, uh, self critique, although that's important too. But it's that just stopping and being present in the moment with what's going on in your body, and then expanding that to what's going on around you and how you move through life. Okay, so the breath work can go anywhere from just like learning how to breathe properly, which so many people today, don't do. There's a lot of upper chest breathing, there's a lot of shallow breathing, there's a lot of, kind of this intermittent, uneven breathing. And there's some really good programs and very simple things with like heart rate variability and stuff like that, heart math, that you can help bring that kind of awareness into just a good normal diaphragmatic breath. And that it's a whole science there.
Yeah, and I just want to interject, so we
Yeah,
put
yeah.
a piece on here that people can identify, is that it's based around stress, because we live in so much stress and we're just like, oh, I can hardly catch my breath. We're breathing, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's what we're doing and we don't realize it. As you say, we're not breathing properly, and our lungs are a muscle. And if
Ab-
you're not using that muscle, they're shrinking and you can't get a breath.
right. Your
And that can't,
diaphragm gets bound up and kind of solidified. Your lungs don't move
everything.
properly.
We
Your
need oxygen.
heart's not pumping well enough.
Right.
Your blood chemistry is all out of balance. And it's a very interesting. I'm just going to make one little suggestion, is that people get the book called Breath by James Nestor. It lays out all of this stuff in a really beautiful, very, very real time. It was just published, I think, last year, and it's a great book. So that, and then breathing, and then movement. So I've been a mover my whole life. I started out, first I was just being very physical. I growing up in Alaska and being out in the woods and climbing trees and all that stuff. But also, my first realizations of my own body and what was going on with that were when I started wrestling, like in the second grade. So I've done wrestling, martial arts, I've, hand-to-hand combat, cross country running, very athletic all my life. So I have a lot of sense of where I am in space and time, and that's part of that movement. Plus the awareness of what's happening, the kinesthetic connections in the body, from the bottom of the foot that come up through the inside the leg, into the pelvis, into the belly, into the diaphragm, and all the way up into, the front of the head. So I've done a lot of studying around that with Feldenkrais was a wonderful study, and then a guy named Tom Myers with anatomy trains. So that whole concept of the fascia, if you look into Rolfing and those kinds of things. So lots of yoga, lots of those kinds of explorations. Right now what I do is aerial acrobatics in the redwood trees. We put on rappel gear, we go up in the trees, we move around, we defy gravity, we get upside down. It's very, very informative. So the breath and then movement, these are two major things to become aware of what's happening, where the patterns are are unhealthy in your body. We'll just say unhealthy, or kind of, and then how to repattern
Yeah.
within the body. And then you bring in the meditation part, or, and that's a big term as well. So meditation can be a number of different things, but we're talking about just coming into the present moment, mindfulness.
Yeah.
Mindfulness for stress reduction. Jack Kornfield, I think he did that. But that helps tie all of that together. And so those are three things that I can offer online. I do, if you go to my website right now, there's like a half-hour free introduction. We can talk about things.
Yeah. What is your website? Why don't
It's
you?
just my name, jameshumecky.com. I know, very arrogant, but there it is. No, I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
But what
And
I'm hearing from you is something that is opening up now in a bigger picture conversation, is that our health is derived from the inside out, not the outside in. Modern medicine, I don't know what to call it. I have a few other names I'd call it, but not on
modern intervention, yeah.
quackery. It's that we have to intervene, we have to do something to the body so it can heal itself. And the body is totally designed to heal itself.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hearing with everything that you describe or allude to, with our breath, with our movement, with our alignment, with the patterns that have come in from out here. Well, some we didn't sign up for with our genetic coding, but it's all here, and it's our relationship with our bodies from the inside out, not the bombardment from the outside in. And it just inspires me to hear you speak it, and in a language that I think people are hearing today. Back when I started, nobody was hearing this, and it just speaks to that we've grown, and we're on a good path into understanding ourselves from the inside out.
Yes. I mean, we're definitely in a big transitional time.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, we always are, but with the amount of people on the planet and the technology that we have at this time, it's even more important to come inside and grow the mastery, the capacity to handle the technologies that we've developed, because we have at our fingertips, great destruction and great creation, both.
Truth.
And that speaks to human human endeavor and intelligence and creativity and our vastness, but it also speaks to our fear and our need to control. So this is part of my work is to help people to find that agency and self-mastery to be able to handle that that expansive creativity that we all carry within us. So in some of my meditations, I'll do guided visualizations, or just, well, that's part of it, but I'll also teach people just to, I'm a long time Vipassana practitioner, for instance. So just being with the breath and being with the sensations in the body, and just realizing that simply by that practice, over time, many things, tensions in the body will unravel. They will unravel, and if you take away all the esoterica around it that has been developed over the centuries, and just look at what's happening in the body, it's a really powerful practice. So
feel it. I could just I can feel it. I keep talking, like I'm getting healed over here.
right, exactly. So, one of the things that over the years that has come up over and over and over in my practice also is sexuality. So people, this is one of the, this is really kind of the biggie in many ways, right? Where people are misinformed, poorly trained, and scared.
And the fear you speak to
There's
is
big
so
fear.
rampant.
And there's, the lower belly pelvic area is just like, solid in so many ways. And this is men and women, it's not, this is a gender neutral issue. And yeah, it doesn't matter which body you were assigned, but that's what's happening in there. So something that I've studied deeply is pelvic release. So there's internal and external work there, using breath work, using touch work, and movement work. So, and that's kind of partially what led me to you and the surrogate partner therapy, and wanting to be able to meet people in that space ethically, in a healthy manner, and above the board,
Yeah. So
And
how are you finding the training? What?
So far it's been really good, and I can see that the trajectory is going to be even, that it's going to get deeper and richer as we go along, and partially, as the group gets to know each other better. And I'm really appreciative that we all got together at your place last month, I guess it was last month. And so that you could see people, you can see and touch people and be like, and breathe the same air, kind of a thing. I know that's a little bit bad at this time in our history, but that's what's really important, is to really be able to look somebody in the eye and see their bodies, and really have some time with them. And then there's richness in the communication part. I think there is richness in the communication part. I'm really liking where it's making me go, in deepening and increasing my skill in that area, whether it's around consent, whether it's around honesty, whether it's around the capacity to really speak to what's happening in the body without projecting out on the next person, So I was just listening to a podcast of, I'm going to forget the name, but anyway, it's a woman wrote a book called The Joy of Movement. And this is, just a reminder of, sometimes it feels like our body hijacks us. The situation doesn't warrant the kind of reaction that's happening internally. And generally speaking, what we do, I know I've done this 100 times myself, is project out on something or someone external to us to as a cause of what's happening inside. Not saying we don't get triggered. Of course we get triggered. I mean, that's one thing, but that reaction in the body is due to the patterning that happened to us throughout our childhood, especially, but then, the decisions we made from colored perceptions after that too, So that's a lot of the work that I do internally, but also with other people.
And so we've come full circle to back to where you speak to patterning, and it is the core of body work, and it's the core of the surrogate partner work in the taking a look at each person as a unique snowflake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that one size fits all, like in the science kind of
Right.
medical way of looking at things, or in the DSM for the mental health way of looking at things, like you fit into this category or you're in this category. And it's back to, just as you said, we came in with certain things that I call plain damn you. You know, it's, we get our nature, we got our nurture, and then there's just plain damn you. And it's teasing through and
Right.
looking at with a lens of your unique you with you, not looking at them with, well, what box do you fit in?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, that's really encouraging that you bring this language, and that you have studied with and know people that are promoting this kind of conversation and awareness. So it's, yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, we know you that idea of, we teach what we need to learn the most, right?
Yeah,
So I'm
well,
very aware of myself in that.
that's true.
Yeah. And I do think that the lens of the surrogate partner therapy, through that lens, there's the possibility or the capacity for real growth in people, so we're not pathologizing somebody, that plain damn you, this is who you are, this is, and then teasing those pieces out. It's much different than saying, there's something wrong with you, there's something broken that needs to be fixed. It's saying there's this incredible capacity within you to create, to rewrite the programs, to create the life that you want to live, to be the best damn you, you know.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes a village, which is why we wrap people up. You don't sit across the desk and talk to somebody for 20 years about being a virgin. You know, it's, we have, okay, well, let's try this. Let's try this. And that's why we've created the IMBT, integrated mind body therapies, because we want to bring both the neck up people and the neck down people together and provide a comprehensive wraparound service for each unique snowflake that walks in our door.
Yeah, no, I really love the sense of community that you're creating, Susan. It's part of what draws me to study with you and be a part of this movement. So
Well, on that note,
yeah, exactly.
let's say you're gonna be looking to do some courses and classes for us that will be up
Yes,
on
we'll
Patreon,
be putting some things up on the Patreon, and
right?
I am actually in the process of rewriting a lot of things on my website and reorganizing. It's it's lacking a little bit right now. Let's put it that
Well,
way.
we're always the updates. Life changes by the minute today.
It does, right? That's the thing,
I'm
eventually I
already
just have to go like,
updated.
well, I'm just going to stop until I get a little more clear where I'm going, and I'm there now. So it's yeah. Thank
Well,
you very much.
thank you. Lovely to be with you. And it's James Humecky, ECKY, right, .com. Connect with James if you have any further questions or would like to connect with them. And also watch for our upcoming Patreon programs, of which James will be offering a course or class or whatever he wants to do.
Oh, right.
All right. Well, you take care. Have a blessed day.
You too. Ciao.